today, I want to talk about exercise and the science that proves it can improve survival after colon cancer. Segment 1, exercise after colon cancer, myth or evidence. We've all heard the advice, exercise is good for you. We've even heard it said, exercise can help cancer patients. But here's the real question. What does the science actually say? Are there numbers behind this advice? How much exercise does it take to make a difference? I was so excited when the results of the challenge trial from the University of Alberta were published this year. The findings are powerful. The results are truly motivating, and best of all, the numbers around exercise feel realistic, doable. So let me break it down. Segment 2, the landmark challenge trial. The challenge, or the Colon Health and Lifelong Exercise Change trial, was conducted in 55 sites across many countries in Canada, Australia, and the US. In total, 889 people with stage 2 or 3 colon cancer were recruited. Everyone had finished chemotherapy and reported that they were exercising less than 150 minutes per week, the usual recommended amount. Participants were then randomly assigned to one of two groups. One group, a 3-year structured exercise program with coaching and support, and the other group receiving health education materials. This randomization was one of the strengths of the challenge trial. Why? Because people didn't get to choose their group. They were assigned by chance. That helps make the two groups as similar as possible at the start. So when differences showed up later, we can have more confidence that it was because of the intervention. In this case, the exercise program. Both groups were then followed for 8 years. And to me, this is another strength of the trial. We weren't just learning about short-term effects, but the sustained long-term impact of exercise. Segment 3, numbers that prove it works. In the challenge trial, researchers looked at 2 key outcomes: disease-free survival, which means how long people live without their cancer coming back, and overall survival, which simply means how long people live. For disease-free survival, people in the exercise group were 28% less likely to have their cancer return or to die during the study. After 5 years, 80% of the exercise group were cancer-free compared to 74% in the health education group. For overall survival, people in the exercise group had a 37% lower risk of death. At 8 years, 90% of the exercise group were alive compared to 83% in the health education group. So not only did exercise help people stay cancer-free longer, it also helped them live longer overall. But you may be wondering, were there any drawbacks? Yes, people in the exercise group did report more muscle and joint aches, about 19% compared to 12% in the health education group. So while there were some side effects, the overall benefits of exercise were much greater. Segment 4, inside the exercise program. But after seeing those numbers, I wanted to learn more. What was it about that structured exercise program in the challenge trial that made the difference? Here are the elements of that exercise program. A goal of meeting 10 metabolic hours of exercise per week, gradual build-up to this goal for the first 6 months, choice of activities which included walking, cycling, swimming, coaching, and regular check-ins, and sustained activity as the program was 3 years. So it wasn't about running marathons or pushing beyond limits. It was about consistent, sustainable movement with support along the way. Segment 5, what's a MET anyway? In the challenge trial, the exercise goal was described as 10 metabolic equivalent hours per week. But what's a MET and why does it matter? A MET, or metabolic equivalent, is simply a way to measure how much energy an activity uses compared to resting. 1 MET is resting, basically sitting quietly, and anything above that means you're using more energy. For example, brisk walking is about 4 METs because it takes about 4 times more effort than resting. Now, what's a MET hour? That's simply the MET number of an activity multiplied by how long you do it. So going back to our brisk walking example, if one does it for 1 hour, then that equals 4 MET hours. Segment 6, how to hit 10 MET hours a week. So by now you might be wondering, okay, but how do I actually reach 10 MET hours a week? The good news is, it doesn't have to be complicated. Here's a simple way. A brisk 30-minute walk is about 2 MET hours. If you do that 5 days in a week, that will meet the 10 MET hour goal. Of course, walking isn't the only option. Cycling, swimming, even some forms of gardening or housework, these all count. To make it easy, I created the Colorectal Cancer Outcomes Research, or CORE, Guide to Exercise in Colon Cancer. In this guide, I'll walk you through how to calculate METs step by step, Plus, I've included a list of common activities with their MET values and what they add up to in 30-minute checks. It's a practical tool you can use to build movement into your survivorship plan. And I've made it available as a complimentary resource if you subscribe to the Colorectal Cancer Research Digest newsletter. The challenge trial was truly a game changer because for the first time, we now have data on the survival benefits of exercise in colon cancer. Ultimately, what this trial shows is that movement matters, not just for feeling better, but for living longer. And the best part? It's achievable. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and hit subscribe. Also, I'd love to hear what you think, so please feel free to leave comments. I read all of them and join our growing community.